You've tuned in to the Top 10 Gardener with garden expert Ken Lain. Join him daily as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now welcome your host, Ken Lain.
And back in the studio is Lisa Waters Lane. She comes each week and just shares her garden tips, tricks, and insider hacks that just make gardening better. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you.
So what you got for us this week?
So we've got more trucks coming in, more new stuff arriving, and the more we move into spring, the more exciting it gets because more stuff shows up.
It's like Christmas for gardeners.
Yeah.
Only it's spring for gardeners.
Right. So we've gotten a lot of our forsythia and lilacs in, which are great early spring bloomers. Great time to plant those because they're still fairly dormant. Good time to get them in their new home. They wake up, they're happy, they're ready to go forward. So I definitely would encourage people who've been thinking about putting those guys in, come check us out because we have a really nice variety of lilacs and forsythia.
Yeah, so we have the best selection really probably in the state as far as, because you're basically a lilac nut. And so you can never have too many type varieties of different colors, different sizes, repeat blooming. And let's try that one because we're in lilac country.
Right.
You know, you got a good plant. It's going to grow here.
Definitely. And it's also a really good time for those spring blooming trees. So your red buds, your crab apples, your ornamental plums, ornamental pears. Great time to be getting those into the ground as well. And you'll never find a better selection than you have right now because the trucks have come.
You get first pickings.
Right. And there's new red buds. There's 2 or 3 new red buds out that are really kind of cool that fit into those smaller yards or different places. So I definitely encourage people to come in and check out what's new. And if you're thinking spring color, now's the time for it. We've also getting in some really nice spring perennials. So things that bloom early.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about some of these perennials I'm talking about today is they start early and they go through the season. So it's not a one and done. They're going to continue to bloom all through the season.
You are in perennial country. This is, we've got a cool winter. So the perennials need it to be cold because they need to rest underground. Most of them, not all of them, but generally they rest underground. Then they come back again from the roots and do it all over again. So you're once and done. You plant it once. If you're thinking of flower gardens, don't torture yourself. Just do perennials. It makes it so much easier. Put it in once, you're done. Just you have to think it through a little bit more because because they don't bloom quite as long as annuals. So you have a sequence. You need spring, summer, fall. You need this variety. So something is always popping up and blooming for you. That's the beauty. That's perennial flower design. That's what you're thinking. That's the hat that you put on.
Right. So some of the ones that we're getting in or have in now that are great color for right now, we've got some dianthus coming in. We have the pink. It's called Vivid Bright Lights, which is a really bright pink. And then we have American Cherry Pie, which is red.
Yeah.
So these are both continual bloomers. So they're blooming now and they're going to continue to bloom until fall. Which is really nice about them. And they're super easy to kind of deadhead them, trim them off, and you just get more blooms and more blooms and more blooms. The other nice thing about the dianthus is it is very animal resistant.
Oh, yeah.
So that would be for javelina, deer, and bunnies. So super in container, easy to grow in containers and in the ground. So this is such a versatile plant. Good sun-loving plant, likes it where it's going to get a lot of all-day sun. But just, I love the dianthus. I think it's really underutilized in a lot of our perennial beds and in our containers.
Well, it might be underutilized, but it comes by 3 names. So maybe some garden kind of trivia. So there's carnations, there's pinks, and there's dianthus. They're all 3 the same thing. So they have variations. So carnations have a little bit bigger flower. Dianthus has the necks and the pinks have the smaller ones, but they're all cousins of each other. So they grow in the same gardens. They have the same traits. They grow equally as well. They're all evergreen. They're all bloom like crazy, all bright flowers. Animals don't eat them. So if you combine all 3 of those, it might be a #1 seller.
It could
as far as, I don't know, peonies are right up there. Snapdragons are definitely up there.
Definitely.
Echinaceas, that's a big one for summer. So
Summer color.
there's a lot of
So
favorites.
so the dianthus, we got those 2 varieties right now, and then I know next week we're getting about another 3 to 4
Oh my goodness.
different colors. You get variegated colors, straight colors. So definitely a cool plant to check out. We're also getting a lot of our Spanish lavenders are
Ooh,
coming
that's
in.
fun. That's a sign of spring.
Yeah. The thing I love about Spanish lavenders is they start blooming early, but they also are a great pollinator plant.
Yeah.
So if you in those vegetable plant area, your fruit tree areas, things where you
Flowers.
want, they're just really great for bringing in those pollinators. So the Spanish lavenders are different from the English lavenders, mainly in their blossom. Most of them have a thicker blossom, shorter, thicker, almost like a
Bulbous.
bumblebee.
Yeah, it looks like a bumblebee. That's a good way to
Mhm.
describe it.
So they've come out with some new varieties. The purple medley, which I think is going to be really cool because it goes down to -10.
Oh, that's unusual.
So some of the Spanish lavenders were like, really cold would knock them out. But -10, that
We'll never see
lavender
that.
can take it.
Even good in Flagstaff.
So that's the purple medley. It also has larger blooms to it.
Cool.
So it's a newer one that's out. Primavera is a very heat tolerant one. There again, purple blooms, but very, very heat tolerant. So those really, really hot spots that you have, which all your lavender loves the heat.
Yeah.
Primavera holds up in those really hot spots. We're also getting the Haviland Deep Purple and the Princess. And so they're kind
These
of
are all Spanish.
Mhm.
I had no idea.
They've
Huh.
come out with a lot of new
Those are all
Spanish
brands. A
lavender.
couple of them I've never heard of. So I want to go
Mhm.
check those out. That's fun.
So lavenders on the whole, great for those really dry spots,
Yeah.
those sunny spots, and they're very animal resistant.
Yeah.
So if you get a lot of animal traffic going back and forth around there, they're excellent to put into those locations. I think the easiest way to kill a lavender is probably overwater
Yeah,
it.
no doubt.
If you're doing it in containers, especially the Spanish lavender seems to hold up really
Yeah.
well in containers. You're just putting it in a really well-drained soil and it'll be fine. So definitely ones to try. We're also getting the Goodwin Creek, which is the old-time English lavender. That one has the long, thinner spike to it. But all of them have that wonderful smell, that aroma that comes not just from the blooms, but also it's in the leaves.
Yeah.
So, I love having a pot kind of where I'm out sitting because you can just kind of rub it and that fragrance just comes out.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be very relaxing.
I think of English lavender as like butterfly. The flowers are taller
Mhm.
on longer stems and they kind of float more in the
Yeah.
wind. They look like butterflies.
Mhm.
And then Spanish looks like a bumblebee. It's shorter, stockier. From going, how is that even possible? How does that thing fly? It's so beautiful. So
Yeah.
they have the same similar color flowers.
Mhm.
But there's different colors too.
Right. Different variations. We're also getting some salvia in. So we're getting the Salvia hermosa called Dark Matter. So it's another super animal resistant plant, great pollinator plant. And they're getting kind of blooms throughout the season. It's going to bloom. You're going to deadhead. It's going to continue to bloom again. Tough as nails.
Oh, yeah.
Loves the heat. Put it where it's hot. Animal resistant. It has a really dark purple to it. So it really shows up. Kind of the foliage is kind of a grayish green, and then that dark purple flower. So it
It's almost
stands
like
out
a black.
really nice.
It's
Mhm.
super deep purple. Then lavender is more like a violet. It's a
Mhm.
lighter, not blue, but it's light, dark. It's a violet, different color.
Yeah.
I'm such a man.
Such a man.
God only gave me 7 crayons. I
Yeah.
can't describe all the colors.
Right. But it's a good one to check out if you have a really tough spot that you've been trying to fill. We're also getting some Salvia gregii, the ignition purple.
Yeah, it's pretty.
So that's another really it's our first group of salvia to come in for the Salvia gregii. Purple's just really popular. It is very, very pretty, but we'll get other colors through the season as well. And then one more I want to mention. It blooms, but it's not a true bloom. But it's the rainbow ascot euphorbia.
Yeah.
So that's another great plant. Takes the heat, animal resistant. It has a real pretty, they call it a bract. The flower is actually a bract, kind of like a poinsettia.
Like a poinsettia,
Yeah. So
exactly.
it's a light chartreuse green. Very attractive.
Well, Lisa, that is super. I love euphorbias, all of them, whether it's gopher plant or rainbow ascot. Good plants for here. Lisa Waters Lane in with her perennial picks of the week that can be planted right now here at Waters Garden Center. Be right back with more after this. Something very special happens next weekend. This is March 15, 16, 17. For 62 years, we've celebrated the start of the spring season here at Waters Garden Center. And the way we do that is we've got special classes, giveaways, raffles. Mainly, we bring in the growers that are developing these new plants here at Waters Garden Center. They feature them. So I bring them in, make them famous. They make sure they bring some of their latest, greatest, like this batch isn't supposed to be released until next year, the end of this year. They bring them with, they show them off. And so I get the experts coming to Waters Garden Center. They're going to teach the class on Saturday at 9:30. I'm just going to line them up and say, hey, Chris, how did you actually develop this new desert willow? How'd you come up with that? And so he's a great storyteller. He'll share how his family has created. He's one of the foremost gardeners. He probably has more patents under his family's name than we have socks in the drawer. It's amazing what kind of new plants are coming up with. So they're hanging out here. They'll show off the plants. Friday at 3:00. That's this coming Friday, the 15th. It's plant happy hour. I'm going to present what I see as the new plants. The growers will do it on Saturday. I'll kind of show off. It's much more casual. Friday at 3, and it's just an opportunity to see the latest, greatest things. We are filling the garden center up right now with the plants, getting ready for spring 2024. You're welcome to join us. It's going to be fun all weekend long. Lots of plants going off, just lots of classes, lots of experts, horticulturalists everywhere. Lisa and I will just camp out on Sunday, just answering questions underneath the front greenhouse. So you get the foremost horticulturalists here in the county, probably one in the state, right here all Sunday. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, March 15, 16, 17, 62nd Spring Open House here at Waters Garden Center, Prescott, Arizona.
You're listening to garden expert Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Look for more tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts through Ken's website. Additional shows of this podcast, read his weekly garden column, or follow him on Facebook, Instagram at watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com.